desire, if not my duty, to try to talk to you journeymen with some candor about what is happening to radio and television. And if what I say is responsible, I alone am responsible for the saying of it. Our history will be what we make of it. And if there are any historians about 50 or 100 years from now, and there should be preserved the kinescopes of 1 week of all 3 networks, they will there find, recorded in black and white and in color, evidence of decadence, escapism, and insulation from the realities of the world in which we live.
The pipe organ doesn't naturally crescendo or decrescendo. When you hit a key, it opens a valve and it lets air through the pipe, so it's a constant volume for that pipe. So the swell shutter pedal, which is controlled by the feet, and it's right above the pedal board where I play the notes with my feet, and as I push the pedal forward, the swell shutters will open, and as I slowly push it closed, the swell shutters will close. And so it's connected by electric wire from my foot all the way up to the top of the swell box to open and close the shutters. So the stop tabs on the organ each tell me what family and what the size of the pipe is. So there's 8-foot flutes and 16-foot flutes and 4-foot reeds. And so I know what to turn on for what sound that I want. And the more of those that I have down, the louder the sound is going to be, because the more pipes I have playing together. And the fewer is when you get the purity of an individual sound. And so the organ has these great big chests that fill with air, and they're waiting for me to press these notes. And then they activate, and as I hit the keys, all of these things open up, and it just lets this air rush out into the pipes.
Secrets from the Great Pyramid of Giza continue to unfold as scientists discover we can focus electromagnetic energy through its hidden chambers. RT's Trinity Chavez explains.
Built by the ancient Egyptians more than 4,500 years ago, the ancient Pyramid of Giza is the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. But scientists are becoming more and more astonished as they make new discoveries about this mysterious landmark. Archaeologists in Egypt have stumbled upon a new discovery. They found that its shape focuses electromagnetic energy, such as radio waves, through its hidden chambers and under its base. Its ability to concentrate electric and magnetic energy was discovered by an international team of researchers.
Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla are 2 different types of inventors. Edison really was a businessman at heart. You really had to dig into the nuts and bolts of whatever it was you were inventing so that you could make it into a commercial, marketable product. Edison's breakthrough was to conceive of this as not just the light bulb, but as a system.
Nikola Tesla has developed technologies for the transmission of alternating current electricity, which brought electrical power to households. He brought to light wireless communication information, which is part of the foundation for how we communicate on a global basis now today.
Hello friends, and welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Today, we're going to talk about some animals that existed 65 million years ago. I am sure you have heard about the dinosaurs. And I'm certain you have seen them in many films and cartoons featuring dinosaurs. But not everything that is told in these films is correct. So if you don't mind, let's find out what they are really like and how they lived. The first thing we need to understand is that people and dinosaurs never lived together. The dinosaurs lived before human beings existed, and they roamed the earth for approximately 135 million years. That's a really long time. They were the dominating vertebrates. Nowadays, more than 500 different species have been identified, thanks to bones and fossils found. All dinosaurs were oviparous, meaning they reproduced by laying eggs. But there were huge differences between them. Some were very small, while others were absolutely enormous.
Who was the better inventor, Thomas Edison or Nikola Tesla, and why?
The better inventor was hands down Edison. He had so many patents and inventions.
Our best hope for induction and wireless charging is Nikola Tesla, and I hope that'll be the wave of the future.
I'm on Edison's team.
I am on Team Tesla.
Edison rocks!
I'm on Team Nikola Tesla.
Tesla, Edison, I mean, it's a great question. When you look at innovation and you look at competition and you look at rivalries, I think it is that type of competitive spirit that drives us forward.
Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla are 2 different types of inventors. Edison really was a businessman at heart. You really had to dig into the nuts and bolts of whatever it was you were inventing so that you could make it into a commercial, marketable product. Edison's breakthrough was to conceive of this as not just the light bulb, but as a system.
Nikola Tesla has developed technologies for the transmission of alternating current electricity, which brought electrical power to households. He brought to light wireless communication information, which is part of the foundation for how we communicate on a global basis now today.
I like both Edison and Tesla. I think they were pretty fantastic scientists and inventors.
I suspect because there's controversy, they must be pretty close to equal. and that's exciting.
A lot of people want to know who was the better inventor, Thomas Edison or Nikola Tesla. And I have to say neither one, because they were so different as inventors.
Tesla and Edison, they're just both great inventors in the energy space. And what we're seeing sort of in lighting and electric motors is just another.
So what I want to touch on is the jet fuel hoax. I think it's important. It really ties into the free energy electrical system that we live in and how it's used. So as far as the jet fuel hoax goes, I gotta give props to Jones on YouTube and Enslaved by No Media on YouTube. Those are the two channels that brought this to my awareness, and I've investigated it and dove into it and tried to tie it into everything else that seems to be electrical, because how Earth is set up, it's electrical. You know, our motherboards are set up like, cities. Those are motherboards. Those are cities. Very similar. This is a little earlier, ancient times, as far as they say ancient. They lie about everything, so probably the time frame too, but So the jet fuel hoax, what they tell us is they put 10 tons of liquid fuel in these wings of the planes. 10 tons of fuel in these wings. Which would look like that in weight. All those, cars piled on those wings would equal the amount of fuel that they tell us that they put in the wings of the planes. the wings don't dip, they don't, fall down a little bit when they get all that liquid in there. 10 tons. Well, something's up with that. That prompted me to definitely look into that a little bit more. And it came down to the turbines. And what the turbines do is they pull in the air, which is electrical. Air is electricity, Tesla knew that. Tesla figured that out, pulled the atmospheric energy out of the air, and they pull that electrical air into these turbines, which have tuning forks in them. And these tuning forks can be tweaked and tuned. Right there. And that creates resonance, and that's what creates all that sound when you hear a turbine revving up. It's creating a frequency, which is going to turn that air, when it's compressed, into a gas, a fuel. So it's just taking the air, the electrical air out of our atmosphere, compressing it, resonating it to a certain frequency, a tone that will make it vibrate, turns it into a gas. Bam, there's your free energy engine using the air. And how they figured that out was the Fibonacci sequence. Your Fibonacci sequence is in the turbine. So they use that Fibonacci sequence, which is in all of nature, your hurricanes, your tornadoes, your weather patterns, because the Fibonacci sequence is what they call the Coriolis effect, and the Coriolis effect is BS. This is what causes your flow of life. The clouds and the storms, they all have this, and all of nature has this. The animals and snails and the Fibonacci sequence, and they've used that formula just like they've used the electricity in the air to create our motherboards and power our cities for free with Tesla coils like that. And they use that sequence, turn it into a free power engine, and it's an air, because it uses the air, plane, because it flies over a plane. That's my take on the jet fuel hoax, and I can definitely see why they would do that, because they already use free electricity out of the air to power our cities with electrical masts up on top of skyscrapers. That's from the late great Aaron Dover. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So most of this comes down to utilizing free electricity out of the air and charging us for fake fossil fuels, fake nuclear energy fuels. And if they could do it, wouldn't they? Right?
What's up, dudes? So I wanted to talk a little bit about mud fossils. I have a lot of pictures that I've taken of them. Here's a cool comparison between a fossil that was found in a desert, and you have the never-ending story, so you have that connection. Then all these rock formations across Earth that have been photographed and put on Google. That all look like giant creatures. It's because they were. You know, giant elephant. Then you have the Nephilim. Getting into that stuff. Show more images. So I'm jamming out to this song too. It's a cool tune. Here you go. Look at that. It's a dragon. So, yeah, all these images are out there. They're on Google. And giant creatures existed. And I've taken my own photographs of them. Let me find them here. Let me go back here. So, I'm going to scroll back up to the top. Take a second. So, they show us in here that they take these giant creatures and flaunt us. Here we go. So that's a mud fossil that I've found right near me, and that is clearly a monkey, an ape. But yeah, so just to kind of show you guys that all of these mud fossils that you can find on Google and all that, they're also right around here. This is cool. You can see the nose here, mouth, lips. And I have hundreds of pictures of these. Oh, I love this one. Yeah, see the nose here and the eyes, mouth. So these giant creatures were fossilized at some point. Some sort of event, and it's not just giants, it's creatures like this. It's like a serpent, a snake. But then they like to flaunt their knowledge in front of us by naming all of our movies after it. And so I'm just talking, just showing you guys these images that I've taken off of Google. And, giants existed, and they put it right in front of our face. Look, giant eagle. They named sports teams after them. It's just what they do. And they're all over Google. Another thing they do, pull up these icebergs. So all of these icebergs also, like, click on that one. That looks like a praying mantis, so what's up with these icebergs? They just don't look right, They just all look CGI to me. And then, hang on a second. Yeah, let's bring up a few more. Let's go ahead and break a few more. Yeah. So I just like looking at these and pulling them up on Google and thinking about it. And, I don't know. It might be real. I mean, look at this. That's an iceberg. That is just questionable. So, yeah, I like thinking about icebergs, and then also volcanoes. Those look pretty fake, too. Those images, I mean, that looks CGI to me. So, I don't know, icebergs, volcanoes, they look like hoaxes to me. But then you got all these rock formations. They're there. I've found plenty of them myself. All these. Yeah. I'll scroll down a little bit more. I'll scroll through these slowly. These are photos I've taken of rock formations that are remains of, fossils of giants and the civilization that was here before. Now, look at this one. So cool. It's like a kind of like salamander. Back. Look at that. Giant alligator. So yeah, I mean, I have like hundreds of my own photos of these giants, and then they put monuments up like this, to symbolize it. This was the first picture I took, and I didn't even know I was taking a picture of a mod fossil at that point. It was before I was aware of it. King Kong. So yeah, I mean, I got all these pictures into this format so I could share this with you guys. And then here's more examples of how they put monuments up all over Earth. to kind of mock us. And here's some more. This is how they tell us to perceive what these are. When they're really just giants. Look at that. Has a helmet on. Yeah, alright, so, yeah, guys. Ooh. We can get into the trees, too. Whole nother subject. So, yeah, just connecting with you guys in here and talking about, you know, trees being electrical also. Playing a part. Look at that. That's code. Here's a mud fossil that was re-sculpted to hide it in plain sight. So that's what they do. Same with the icebergs. Same with the volcanoes. So yeah, guys, so, yeah. I just wanted to connect with you. I kind of got this new setup and just wanted to talk about mud fossils again. Because it's such a cool subject. And they're all over Earth. And it's proof of our true history. That's okay.
So if you take an ice cube, right? You put it in water. The ice cube will eventually melt. So icebergs are a hoax. Ice melts in water. You put a big chunk of ice in unfrozen water, and it melts. So why? So why would they lie about icebergs? Fear. Fear of the ice caps, quote unquote, melting and flooding everything. It's all about fear. It's also to continue to control our minds about what we live on. So they create all these fear-based possibilities that could you know, cause catastrophe. And that fear is actually harnessed. It's very important to their way of manipulating our frequency, keeping us at a lower vibration. Sorry, I get excited when I talk about this. I kind of stutter because it's just what they do, you know. And they put it in movies. Monsters Inc. is about harnessing the fear and using that as energy. They do the same thing when we go to the polling station. You know, here is a polling station layout. And here is schematics. It's a diagram for a couple power stage, you know, polling station layout. It's electrical. You know, you got the poles, you got red and blue. You go to the polling station, the red and blue is the positive and the negative. So you go to the polling station and you don't vote, you volt. It's about electricity, it's a voltage. You volt for a negative or a positive. And the one that gets the most volts is put into power in DC. But look how they harness us. You know, they bring our minds down into these cubes. And they harness our energy because we're focused down in there. Ice cube to melt. Yeah, they do the same thing. They harness us and herd us into stadiums, and they create these events for us to get all excitable, raise our energy level, and they harvest that energy, just like they do in these movies with fear, you know, or making us a volt. It's all about energy. It's collecting our energy. And they hoax us with things like icebergs and stuff like that, that's gonna destroy the world. But if you put ice in water, it melts. So there can't be icebergs floating around. That's just a little piece of the puzzle, you know, connecting some dots. It's definitely all electrical. Look at that. I was talking about the hexagons and the stars and the hexagonal dome. They like to put it in movies. They put truth in movies. Look at that dome and that scene with the hexagon. Here's another dome shot. Yeah, so, yeah, you know, it sounds insane, and I think it's okay. You know, icebergs are hoaxed. Ice melts in water, and it's just all part of their ultimate design to hide free energy and how they get it. They have to hook us with stuff like that to control our minds. right? They're good at it. That's okay. We can figure this stuff out and guard the gates of our mind. And just knowing that this is what they're doing, knowing it and learning it and understanding it, we can guard the gates of our minds and we can feel liberated. That's awesome, you know? We can understand things. Or no, not understand, overstand. We can overstand it. Awesome.
Hey guys. So, I'm going to talk a few minutes about the Wild Wild West and how I see it as being a hoax. Yeah, they use numerology and numbers and language against us all the time. And, you know, wild, WW, you rotate that to the left, right? Left, you get 33. 33 is a number used, kind of like, how, like, you know, it's symbolism. It's communication without words. Numbers are used to communicate information. We're in this group. You take WWW, which is 333. 3 times is 999. Flipped is 666. 666 is not a bad number. It's just it's language. So WWW, Wild Wild West, WWW, WWW, World Wide Web, World War III, hoaxes. Yeah, so you got the 1865 to 1895, so they have definitive years that the Old West was famous for cowboys, native Indians, the lawmen, you know, gamblers, scouts. It's all this kind of like gangs and gunfighters. It's just a hoax. There was a flood in 1862, just before 1865. So, you know, they could be lying about this whole time period, kind of just making it up. It's a hoax. They say the Wild West ended quickly for a few reasons. Changes from the progressive era, inventions, the automobile, and barbed wire. They claim that as a reason for the Wild West ending quickly. Barbed wire when cows are being moved. Some farmers couldn't go gather. So, yeah, that's a bizarre reason. Yeah. Then you get into, you know, the steam engine. We're starting to use free energy. Figuring out how to use compressed air, turn it into a fuel. You get all these characters: Jesse James, Billy the Kid, Butch Cassidy, just characters, just like in the movies. You know, they make all these Western movies, it's a time frame that has been hoaxed on us. They lie about his story, his story, and here we go. His story. And they like to make us think that our the time periods before now, that we're more advanced than they were, but that's opposite. They were more advanced than us, so they have to manipulate our perspective of his story. Because there was some sort of, flood or something that happened and wiped out this whole time period. So they're probably, they interjected all these years, 30 years here, where there was some sort of thing that happened. And this whole time period is just a hoax. All these movies, they make movies to control our perspective. They put it in the comics. Giant, giants existed. They put that in all kinds of, movies and name everything after it. Tell us we're monkeys. Here's some giants I took. Here's giants all over the world. And it's in a Western movie. So yeah, just some thoughts on, the Wild West being a hoax, that whole time period. Maybe it's, they say it's 2018. Maybe it's 1918. They lie about everything else. Why not about his story?